Hi everybody, it's me, the Fetch, host of Inside the Eye Live. Before the Sunday mainstream media political pundit talk shows, there is Inside the Eye Live, where we break down some of the weekly mainstream media talking points before the talking points even get aired. Add in some entertaining stories, weather, cats, intriguing and informative guests, and you get one of the most listened to Saturday morning streaming media political talk shows going today. And it's all right here on our flagship station, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. So join me, The Fetch, for Inside the Eye Live every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. It is truly intelligent media for the politically aware.
Welcome to Sacred Matrix, a divine paradigm of love and universal consciousness, with your host, Janet Lessin and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
Together, we transform the world.
And now, here are your hosts, Janet Kira and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
Okay, I had a little bit of connection problems. Let me get the show running here. We'll get this going. My Skype decided to crash.
All right,
y'all are live. My Skype decided to just crash out.
All right, hey folks, this is Reverend John Polk, and I am here with Dr. Dream on Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio. Now, your normal hosts are Dr. Sasha Lessin and Janet Lessin, and they are right now in San Francisco, California at the UFO Con, and this is the last day of the conference, so I am the fill-in host, but we're going to have a great show tonight, and let's get right to Dr. Dream and his bio. So, as a sacred economic entrepreneur, humanitarian, holistic healing practitioner, international speaker, and the bull whisperer, Dr. Dream has over 20 years experience guiding, mentoring, and empowering students, organizations, and corporations in building, reaching, and sustaining their full potential on all levels. He has traveled to sacred sites around the world, including locations in Egypt, Cambodia, Japan, China, Russia, United Kingdom, Greece, Turkey, and throughout Central and South America, from presenting at total solar eclipse festivals and Burning Man ceremonies at Machu Picchu, Angkor Wat, and Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan, to his weekly radio broadcast since 2005. Currently on hiatus, Dr. Dream has assisted the journeys of thousands of incredible beings on their path of transformation. Since January 2010, Dr. Dream has traveled to well over 180 cities and facilitated more than 500 group energetic events. Currently, Dr. Dream lives full-time on the road. On the Tour of Love, he is in a new city every 1 to 3 days and facilitates Tibetan healing bowl experiences with 33 to 333 bowls, essential oils, and raw chocolate 3 to 6 nights per week. Follow his schedule at touroflove.com. Once again, touroflove.com. Dr. Dream wholeheartedly agrees with Les Brown, quote, "Help others achieve their dreams, and you will achieve yours." So, Dr. Dream, welcome to the show, and please tell us a little more about yourself.
John, thank you so much. Very excited to be here. Love the synchronicity. You never know where you're going to catch me, and it ends up that we're both in Florida for this interview, and I'm getting a kick out of that. We just completed our 17th event in Florida for the month of March. So we did that at a clip of more than one every other day. And this is just part of the, one leg of the tour, or 1 month of the never-ending tour of love. The other night, I did my 500th group energetic experience since January of 2010. So I've been keeping pretty busy.
It sounds like you have. I was being nosy and went on to Twitter, and so now I'm following you on Twitter, and I see that you were most recently in Naples, Bonita Springs, currently in Atlantic City in northern Florida, Parkland on the 21st, and then it's kind of tour taking place.
I'm trying, folks. This internet's the Skype is just messing up all over the place on me tonight. Well, I'm trying to pick up the guests. There we go. John's got in here finally.
Okay.
My Skype is just acting weird all of a sudden.
Well, Dr. Dream and I both started meditating because, believe it or not, sometimes it does help to clear the static energies that sometimes can create themselves. So
he's not back yet. I'm still.
Oh, he's not. All right.
But we are live, as far as I know.
He's asking if he should join the call.
Yeah.
Hey there, I'm back.
There we go. Sorry about this. Is my Skype's just acting up tonight for some reason.
Well, I did a little mojo dance over here, so let's see if we've cleared enough of the energies.
All right. So I already read your bio. Do you know if the listeners heard it?
Yeah, they heard that. They just didn't hear when you started getting the questions.
Oh, okay. So last I heard Dr. Dream saying the irony of him being in Florida, and he's about 2 hours away from where I currently live right now. And so I was saying that I went on Twitter and started to follow him, and then I noticed that he's been in Naples, Bonita Springs, Marco Island, and most currently Atlantic City, just recently, within the last handful of days or a little more. And anyway, and so now I was looking at his website, which is touroflove.com, and everybody that's listening, please, go to the website. It tells you exactly where he's going to be, what days, what cities, and you can follow this event all around the country. And that was my next question to lead into. Tell us about your travels from Florida up to Virginia here in the next couple days.
Well, it's kind of nice. We did a small event in Ocala last night, and we've just stopped here in Atlantic Beach for a couple of days. We've got probably about 110 bowls or something to bring into the collection. It's a process that takes, well, if we actually have 110, it'll take 11 hours to bring that many bowls into the collection. But we go through and we test the notes and the frequencies, and we really get to know the bowls. So we've had a really busy month in Florida. We did 17 events in 25 days. And so this is a state park that's right on the Atlantic Ocean, and they're on a couple of lakes here also. And so we're going to spend a couple of nights here just getting things in order, and then actually we get to take our time a little bit. We'll be in Charlottesville on Saturday and Richmond, Virginia on Sunday. So and then we're headed up to New Jersey and New York, and we've still got dates where we haven't finalized yet in Connecticut, and looks like Massachusetts and maybe even Vermont.
I guess it stands to reason that you have a schedule, but it seems like that you're definitely open to the fact that you can fill in dates here and there along the way across the country on your tour.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy lifestyle and model that we have, and what makes it pretty intense is that we look to do probably 130 events this year. And so our biggest challenge is doing all of those events, doing the bookings. We have volunteers at most of our events, so coordinating that, doing the website, doing the graphics, doing the press releases. I mean, it's incredible. And so I've had a couple of booking people kind of float in and float out, and at some point we'll have like a strictly a booking person or a manager / booking person, because it's that's the biggest challenge is making all of that happen. So yeah, at the moment, for anyone on the East Coast, we do have open dates, and we go to people's homes. We take this experience that we do with the Tibetan healing bowls and the raw cacao and the essential oils, and we're doing someone's home in Manhattan coming up in April. We're doing someone's home in Yonkers, and they'll gather 12, if they got a little bigger place, maybe 15 people. And that's how we kind of manage the schedule to pick up a couple extra dates each week that aren't at the Unity churches or the big yoga centers or the different other types of venues. During the week, we'll do events for 70 to 120 people or so. And then we'll pick a couple of dates and just kind of filler dates in with people's homes. So we're still looking for dates in New Jersey and in New York and Connecticut. And so if you'd like to have this kind of very inspiring and motivating and paradigm busting and sound healing and energetic experience, it's take advantage of this time, because I think in a year or so we'll look back on all this and say, oh, remember when we used to be okay doing events for like 10 or 12 people, because the size of the events that we're doing now are growing. And that's the goal, is for us to, I'm here to touch as many people's lives as I can, and it's just with all the love I have for humanity and all the bliss and joy that I have for this experience, and everything's just lined up this way. These experiences that we do are so powerful. And so can you imagine, I've done a 333 Tibetan healing bowl experience in Detroit, in Oklahoma City, in St. Louis, not to mention places in California and this and that, but I mean, in places, I've done other events in Lubbock and Amarillo, and we were in Las Cruces recently. I mean, we're going all over the country and touching people in a most beautiful way with an energy that is only an offered, like an invitation of an opening for people, and then it's up to each individual. And what we've seen in the thousands of people that we've had in our experiences is I mean, nothing short of amazing. I most of the time I can't believe how blessed I am to be living a life like this, and to have so much contact with so many wonderful people.
You brought something up interesting earlier. You were talking about transporting the bowls from point A to point B, and that you actually have to tune them. How often do you have to retune a bowl that you've used before? Do you bring new bowls into the mix? Can a bowl live a life, and then you need to get a new bowl because it's lost its power, it's lost its frequency? Can you explain that to me and the listeners tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. And I may have mixed up a couple words in there. What we do when we get the bowls come to us and they're not labeled. And so we take them through a process. These bowls are hand-hammered 7 metal Tibetan healing bowls. and they're master healing grade, which means when you strike it with a mallet, and we only use, like in the experiences, we don't use a stick around the rim. We just use a mallet. When you strike it with a mallet, it resonates for more than 45 seconds. Many of our bowls go for minutes. We've got some pretty large bowls, and so that's what we do. Is we this process that we call bringing the bowls into the collection just means unpacking them from the boxes they came in from Nepal, and sitting there and identifying their note and their frequency. We use some different apps for our Android phone. And we go through that process, and we weigh the bowls. Everything's based on weight. The pricing is based on weight. And so everything's a fairly easy formula, but it literally takes about 6 minutes a bowl to bring them into the collection. And then we have a policy. I mean, we're using so many bowls for so many different experiences. It's not unusual that people will come. Here's our thing is that every bowl is for sale, except I have one bowl out of the, we've cycled through however many thousand bowls, but I have one bowl that is never for sale. It's just the only bowl that's not for sale. And every other bowl we have is for sale. So I can have a set that I've been using for weeks or months. And if somebody wants a bowl out of that particular set that I've been like just vibing on for however many tens of events or whatever, they can purchase that bowl. So people really love that, because afterwards they go through the different stations and they're looking for different frequencies or different note combinations. And so it's really fun for people. And let's face it, I mean, I don't know what your experience has been, John, but like before I started doing this, I think the most bowls I had seen was like 10, or maybe I saw 15 at some yoga studio, or maybe in a store I actually saw maybe 15 or 20 bowls. But many of us have never heard that many bowls. Well, how about getting 111? We do that experience quite a bit. Or 333, we do that one less often. But seeing all those bowls and then hearing them all played together, it's nothing short of, I mean, it's really amazing to do that. Even in Nepal, we're in a sacred economic agreement with 3 countries. We got the metals man in Mumbai, India, who gives us 4 months to make payments on 1,000 kilos of 7 different metals. Wow. And then we have 50. Just listen to these numbers. We have 1,500 bowl makers to make the 1,000 kilos of bowls, which comes to about 600 to 700 bowls. And they are we're on monthly payments with them. So they give their time and energy and everything in the beginning. And then we send a minimum of $7,000 a month to Nepal. So it's a sacred economic agreement between myself in the U.S., the metals man in Mumbai, and the 1,500 bowl makers in 2 villages in Nepal. And it's part of the paradigm busting. The experience, people come out, and sometimes if it hasn't been explained right, they think they're coming out to hear 333 or 111 bowls played for a couple of hours, and it's nothing like that. There's storytelling woven into it, and then the experience that we've been doing, most recent, allows people to go into each chakra energetically and clear out whatever energy is going on. And between the 7 chakras, we can pretty much relate those energies to whatever's going on in someone's life. So the experience itself becomes a guided process of storytelling, sound healing, and other energetics that is an invitation for people to go deep and see what energy is there to be moved, and then see if this is the time or the opportunity to really do that.
I notice, there's always power in numbers. So the 33 Tibetan healing bowls or 111 numerology, you add the 3 ones together, that equals 3. Then even 333 or 111 times 3. I got to think that the numerology has to, the power of three, if you will, the body, mind, spirit, the body, mind, soul, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, that somehow that the numerology plays into it. Am I right by guessing
Yeah,
that?
you're absolutely right. And here's the thing, I'm Dr. Dream, yeah, but I'm just doing my thing. And so I really don't know the full extent of what's really taking place in these experiences. I know what I've been guided to do. I know what I pulled together. I know that we've done 333 bowls, surrounding an audience of 2,500 people last year. That's the largest event that we've done. And I know that people came up to me afterwards and they were just absolutely blown away. So the numbers, I mean, I live my life noticing things. And so I notice numbers all the time. And the ones, the threes, these are numbers that pop up all the time for us. But it's really interesting. The first big bowl event, so to speak, big in numbers that we did was sort of all by, I mean, I'm sure by divine design, but on the matrix level, it seemed all by happenstance. We had ordered 300 bowls. They were coming in from Nepal right before an event we were going to do in Southern California. And being Dr. Dream the biggest dream, I said, hey, listen, let's do a 300 bowl event. And that's how we came about it. That night was huge. We sold out the wellness center, and people, just had very powerful experiences. And that night I decided I'm going to do more of these events, but 300 wasn't the right number. And I said, I'm going to do 333. So it wasn't like I sat there with the pendulum or the dowsing rod or anything and said, okay, what's it going to be? Or, drew cards or anything like that. And I kind of love that about my life. It's like, once I see how things unfold, it seems like there was an amazing, well thought out strategy to everything. When in reality, it was just kind of me following this clue, this message, that message. And, if I'm good at anything, I guess it's noticing what I should do. And then when I finally get there, I'm like, wow, that all worked out. That's amazing.
So of course there's the bowls, and then there's essential oils, and then there's the raw chocolate. Educate me on how, I mean, it all plays into the healing modality that you're practicing here. But I just don't understand, how does the raw chocolate play into this whole supernatural formula, if you will?
Well, you know what? You're obviously not speaking from a true chocolate aficionado's position, because
I'm
if
not.
you were, John, you would be saying things like, of course the chocolate
Duh,
is in there, because anything with chocolate is better than doing it
right?
without chocolate. But further to the point, everything is energy. These particular chocolates from my dear friend Lori Moritz at Mystic Chocolate in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, are each formulated for the 7 different chakras. And so, like the root chakra chocolate is cherry, cayenne, and 5 spice. And as an example, the crown chakra chocolate is lemon and violet, and the heart is pear and rose. Well, so what we're doing in the experience is we've created a multi-sensory experience. It's not just a talking head. It's not just sound and vibration resonating from a stage. What we're doing is we go up to, not in the big events, but in the events up to about 400 people, we go up to everyone in the audience a minimum of 21 times. So we have to have rooms set in a very specific way. We go up to them 7 times with essential oils, 1 for each chakra, and we put them on their wrist. We go up to them 7 times with chocolate and a silver tray where they take a piece of delectable chocolate. 7 times they do that, 1 for each chakra. And then we go up to them 7 times, once with each bowl representing each chakra. And in some of the experiences people have, last night, it was just last night in Ocala, the people had us, they had 2 chakra bowls for each chakra come up to them. So 28 times up to each person. So we're doing this immersive, multi-sensory experience. And the chocolate, I did 450 experiences without chocolate, and now I've done 51 with chocolate. Seriously, everything's better with chocolate. And they're not given all at once. I mean, they're spaced out over the course of the 2.5 hours. So, like, people think, oh, geez, 2.5 hours, that sounds crazy. By the time we're done, people say, I can't even believe that was only 2.5 hours. Not only 2.5 hours, but that was 2.5 hours, because it went so fast. But the thing is, we take them into the headspace and thinking about and kind of getting triggered maybe a little bit with each chakra, and then the energetic surrounding it, the chocolate, the oil, the bowl, and then back into the headspace for the next chakra. And so it's a journey. It's like a ride. I should talk to Disney about this. The way this works could be a nice little ride through a nice maze and everything. But it's kind of the way I see life anyway. It's just, it's all a journey, and the experience is a journey, and people, there's laughter, there's, some people cry. The experience can be powerful on many levels. We've had experiences for 30 or 40 people where everyone's cried. And we've had other ones where it just hasn't been that energy. When we all join together in a experience like this, the reason it's been easy for me to do over 500 of these is because every single one is different, because we create a different, unique, energetic grid every time we come together for something, and it's always different people. And so then the grid requests different things for me to say, or different processes in the experience. And so we have people come back 3, 4, 5 times, and I love that, because they're really taking themselves deep into a process.
So everybody's heard of the crystal bowls, but besides the physical makeup, what is the difference between a metal and a crystal bowl, spiritually, metaphysically, physically? Why do you use the metal over the crystal? Just a couple questions wrapped up into a couple questions.
Well, I'm going to sort of peel into this one.
Okay, it's an onion.
Here's so for me, the way that the bowls have come to us is really the reason that we're using the bowls. But the difference is, and I was familiar with crystal bowls before I was familiar with Tibetan bowls. And the crystal bowls are machined, and they're smooth, and they're very fine tuned in their tone and their frequency and whatnot. And with the Tibetan bowls, it is specifically a note, but they're covering such a broad range that for me there's a depth and a breadth within that experience of the metal Tibetan healing bowls that is, it's for me, it feels more expansive. It even feels more healing to me. But you got to know, I'm traveling with, no offense to anyone who's doing crystal bowls. I love them. I was just the other night with our dear friend Lucy Finch in Naples, Florida, and she combines the Tibetan healing bowls with the crystal bowls, and we did a meditation with her that I was so deeply moved. And so I love the sound of the crystal bowls. And so just for me, and certainly it would make sense that I would feel this way at this point, and we do these experiences 3 to 5 times a week. They call me the bowl whisperer because I don't know anyone that's doing more numbers or more time with bowls and really going through this process. And and it's wild. One person can pick up a bowl and strike it with the same mallet as another person in the same sound environment and get one particular note, and the person right next to them can take the bowl out of their hand, so same temperature, same everything, take the mallet out of their hand, same mallet, strike it in what would be a similar way, although no one does everything the exact same way, and get a completely different note. And so I'm not I like all the shades of reality and everything, but there's a part of me that wishes that with the bowls it was all black and white, that it wasn't that way. But it's people's energy, it's how they carry it, it's how their striking is. We just brought a bowl into the collection tonight that the whole bowl was, what was the letter of that bowl? It was an E. And a C, wasn't it? And it was a C, and then there was one spot on the bowl that when you hit that one spot, it was a B, and there was no C present at all. In all around the rim of that bowl, every other place you hit it, it was a C bowl, and you hit that one spot. So, like, we put a sticker with a B on it on that spot. The rest of the bowl is a C. How cool is that? For those of you that don't know what the letters correspond to, C, which most of the bowl, wherever you hit it, was a C, is the root chakra. And then that one spot is B, which is the crown chakra. So someone's going to end up with this bowl that's all about grounding, and then when you feel like you've got it, you're just feeling completely grounded and all solid. You just flip it over to the side where that red sticker with the B is, and you strike it there, and it's the crown chakra. And it's just like, these are the kind of the idiosyncrasies. These are the variables that make these, I mean, it's like less structured, more free to be what they need to be in the moment for people. And so, but it can be a little challenging, It's, we've all got these phones, and we used an app to identify the notes, and so we love it when people bring their phones and they've already got the app and they go through the bowls themselves to see what it is when they play it, because it may very well be different. We used to get the bowls labeled from Nepal as the different notes, but we could never really actually across the board rely on that, because when we would sit there and go through the process, we would get different notes, and it was like, okay, who knows how they're holding it or what type of mallet they're using, or all those different variables play into it.
So do you factor in hertz? I mean, is it based on hertz? Is it more of a spiritual thing, or is it more based on the raw science of the hertz that resonates out from the striking of the mallet? I'm just, prior to a few days ago, I really didn't know not a whole lot about crystal bowls or sound healing by the use of bowls, especially metal versus crystal. So is it a scientific application, or do you try and feel it spiritually, or is it a combination of both when you tune the bowls?
So what I love about right now, about 2017, and just what's going on for the collective of humanity, is nothing is just science and nothing is just spiritual. And right. the integration, the marriage, if you will, of those two aspects of energies, dynamics of how our brains work, how our minds work, is what's happening all the time. And so we get notes on all the bowls. We identify what their frequencies are, because the applications tell us what the frequencies are, and we get some intense frequencies. We get some of the solfeggio frequencies, the sacred frequencies, the bowl that is the bowl that the one bowl that we won't sell is an A bowl, which is the third eye, intuition and inner knowing, and the frequency of it is 108 hertz, which is the frequency of total knowing. So just by design, or what seems like happenstance, I ended up with, or divine synchronicity, I ended up with a inner knowing and intuition third eye bowl that carries the frequency of total knowing. It rocks people's worlds in the experiences. I mean, it's one of those bowls that you've had a very powerful bowl brought up to you. And so we do pay attention to the frequencies. We did an event recently, and there was a person there that had Crohn's disease, which is inflammation of the intestines, of the bowel tract, and stomach issue. And I happened to have brought a bowl into the collection a couple days before that carried the frequency of bringing comfort or relief or healing for people that are dealing with Crohn's. And so I had 10 angels helping that night with the experience, and I was able to sit with him with the bowl and some peppermint essential oil, which is great for the solar plexus in that whole region. And within 15 to 20 minutes, he was completely out of pain that had him doubled over. And so we left him with the bowl. We said, hey, listen, we'll be back in October. Keep the bowl, use it, see how it works, send us reports. And so we see how real it is by how people respond to it. And I guess that would be the spiritual response. We're presenting something that is based in science. I mean, there's some science around all of this, and it's the science of expanding that we're all energy and how that energy works. Everything, the energy of sound and vibration, all of it. And so the stories, we have stories. We don't publicize it. I mean, I wouldn't reprint the letters that are sent to us, but that talk about spontaneous healings. Like I had this thing for the last 5 or 10 years, and now it's gone after the 333 bowl experience we did with you last night. We hear those kinds of things all the time. And we don't share them or the specifics of them, because when you get down to it, it doesn't matter to anyone else except that person. And if if that's what they're experiencing, hallelujah. I mean, we're entering into a time that miracles should be second place. That meaning, like, they shouldn't garner a lot of attention, because we're all capable of creating miracles and living miracles in our lives. And so I want to hear more about it, but I want people to have those experiences and see where it all goes. These are magical times we're living in.
They are. We're in the middle of this paradigm shift, and we all need to be a part of it. So it was interesting. You mentioned the A bowl was 108 hertz. So let's go back to numerology. What you do is you add the digits together. 1 plus 0 plus 8 equals 9. 9 is 3 times 3, the power of 3. And the A bowl deals with the third eye. I just put all these numerical parallels together, and it just gets even deeper and more interesting. But one of the things that you mentioned on your website is rose frequency. And it's interesting. You click on rose frequency on the website, touroflove.com, everybody, touroflove.com. You got to check out the website and click on rose frequency, and it will give you the option to learn more details about it. And it breaks it down into a chart of how essential oils compare to more organic human qualities like our brain. So, for example, the rose frequency is about, and this is an essential oil, folks, that this rose frequency is about 4 times higher than that of the human brain. And I found that incredibly interesting. Can you expand upon that for us?
Well, this is an interesting study that's widely quoted out there, and we really like it because I don't use the specifics of I really just focus on the human body as 62 to 68 megahertz. And, that if we get down, if the body is calibrating at 58, we're susceptible to cold symptoms, at 57, flu symptoms. And on down, Epstein-Barr, Candida, cancer is 42 megahertz, and the onset of death starts at 25. Well, once people hear that, they kind of perk up, and they're like, oh, wait, the onset of death is at 25 megahertz. Maybe I should pay attention to what megahertz my body is. And so when I saw this study, my one thought was, I choose to be high frequency. So what's with this rose frequency being, 320 megahertz? And so I started playing with rose, and I started wearing it all the time. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's everything we do that has, you can't narrow it down to any one thing, but I attribute rose with supporting me in opening my heart and expanding my heart space. And we use it on a daily basis. Of course, it's part of all the experiences, and we love it. So we've got some rose frequency products, and we use them in our events, and we just like getting that quality out there for people, and at a good price, and the consistency. That's the whole thing. We do a lot with essential oils. We work with doTERRA and Young Living, because they're the two largest and two best, most consistent essential oil companies in the world. And so that's all I'm interested in. I mean, we don't sign people up. That's not really what I'm involved in. I tell people, look for the person in your community that's doing doTERRA. Look for the person that's here at the event tonight that does doTERRA, that's local for you. And let's all support each other, but let's use the highest quality essential oils. And it's here it is again. It's like, oh, rose essential oil, nobody thinks about it until all of a sudden there's the science behind it. And we understand frequency, and things make sense. And so for me, I was like, well, if cold symptoms are at 58 megahertz, I don't really want to dip down there. Flu symptoms, 57. I mean, I'm too busy. I've got a lot to do here this time around. And I choose to be healthy. And so we play with essential oils a lot and constantly putting it on. And then in our experience, you get the frequency of these chocolates that are super high vibe. Lori Moritz uses tensor ring technology from Brian Besko at twistedsage.com, some of the finest energetic tools that are available right now that are the most up to date with what's going on the energetic grids of this planet and beyond. And I know it all sounds crazy, but you feel this. And that's what we give people, is a tangible experience of what it feels like to raise your frequency, what it feels like to be around a high vibe energetic that is an invitation for you to raise your frequency. We're also surrounded by invitations for us to lower our frequency. Gosh forbid we've got the TV on, and that's a huge invitation to lower our frequency. But just the way people talk and how they share their stories, pay attention. You know who the high vibe people are. And the stories are being shared in a way that when you walk away from them or you hang up the phone, you're feeling supercharged. And the other ones are the ones we call energy vampires, which I think is a load of hooey. There's no energy vampires. It's just we don't realize it. We lower our frequency, and then they walk away. We say, oh, they're energy vampires. But all that happened was we sunk down to the lowest common denominator. We lowered our frequency. There are people that are waiting in the wings to take your frequency, but you have to, or take your energy or whatever it is, but you've got to give it up. There's no energy vampires that are etherically running around sucking the energy out of us. How disempowering is that? It's like, no, you make a commitment to hold your vibration, or you don't even think about it, and then who knows what's going on and who's drawing off you or whatever. But it's because you're not conscious and aware of how you're holding your energy. And I we help people with this. You know, we're this tour of love, and everything we do is about helping people. I give people at the events my cell phone number, and that they can call me if they've got something going on. I do no charge counseling. You can go to touroflove.com and click on a link and sign up for no charge 15-minute counseling. And we do these calls all the time with people. You know, this isn't, and yeah, if you want some rose frequency products, get it. But it's not a pitch for all of this. Honestly, if you don't buy bowls, we're having trouble supporting 1,500 bowl makers, but we don't make anyone buy bowls. I was thinking about it the other day. We're going to all these cities. We've got thousands of bowls out there. We're like seeding the country with an energetic that is healing and raising vibrations. Metaphysical Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah, and apparently it's working, or, you know, you wouldn't be creating all these tour dates. And then once you create the tour dates, filling in dates in between the dates. So this whole concept in your band of angels, and then, you know, it's getting on the internet. If it's not viral, then it's on its way to being viral. I know that a number of years ago that you... I'm sorry. Okay. Hey, we have a break coming up in about 2 or 3 minutes. But I wanted to mention how, you know, in the past you were you created That's All Good and you trademarked it. That was absolutely brilliant, Dr. Dream.
Oh, you know what? We're going to have to talk about that, because that's an interesting story, and I don't want that one misrepresented. I'll hear about that tomorrow.
Well, I mean, it was in the information that I read, and I'm like, that, you know, it's one of those catchphrases that everybody uses. But you had the foresight to trademark it, back in the late 90s or early 2000s? You were onto something when you did that, because everybody uses that phrase. And it's a catchy phrase. It's a catchy phrase. I would have never known that it was actually trademarked by a professional web designer and marketing entrepreneur, but it was a genius idea, that's for sure. So we got a couple minutes. I wanted to mention that at the top of the frequency of single essential oils chart that you have on your Tour of Love website, once again, Rose, 320 megahertz. And it's interesting because I live in Orlando, and I used to be into the suntan lotion industry. And Rose Hips Oil is one of the only and one of the most effective healers of radiation burn and skin damage from the sun that, of course, leads to premature aging, especially in women around their eyes. So, it just makes perfect sense that would be at the top of the charts, 320 megahertz. And something else that is interesting, the three wise men brought to the infant Jesus Christ gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And both frankincense and myrrh are on this chart also. And they both are over 100 megahertz, 105 for myrrh and 147 for the frankincense. And it's interesting that the high priest, before they would talk to God through the Ark of the Covenant, would actually burn frankincense and inhale it and go into an altered state of consciousness before they actually would communicate with God through the Ark of the Covenant. And they did it through basically smoking essential oils to be able to communicate better with God. I just found that just incredibly interesting and fascinating. But hey, folks, this is Reverend John Polk, and we have Dr. Dream, touroflove.com. He's in the middle of his tour across North America, and we are listening to the Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio. I am your fill-in host for this week. Dr. Sasha and Janet Lessin will be back next week. We're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back here on Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio. Be right back, folks.
Well, we got to wait for the music to start.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message.
Enjoy your extra big-ass fries.
You didn't give me no fries. I got an empty box.
Would you like another extra big-ass fries?
I said I didn't get any.
Thank you. Your account has been charged. Your balance is 0. Please come back when you can afford to make a purchase.
No.
I'm sorry you're having
trouble.
trouble.
Come on. My kids are starving.
Thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we believe in freedom of ideas, freedom of speech, but above all, we believe in freedom of existence through self-reliance. This station is 100% listener-supported, and as a fundraising promotion, I have a kick-ass free gift for a $100 donation. 35,000 seeds. 25 years in the freezer. Long-term storable, 54 different varieties. So if food prices go crazy, the shit hits the fan, or if you just want to save tons of money every year by creating your own food like I do, grab our seed pack special. Just look for the banner on the homepage at freedomslips.com. Don't be a statistic. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. We need, as humans, to start taking care of ourselves and not depending on the megacorps to provide unhealthy, nasty food. Included in this package is also a DVD with 900 survival and off-grid living documents and the offline home canning how to do everything website all on the DVD. So when you're growing all that food, you know how to can it, store it, preserve it, etc. with all these documents. So thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I hope that you will pick up this package and start learning to be free. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps and freedom is one seed that needs to be planted.
What we do in life, it goes in eternity.
Looking for a nightcap to fill your listening needs? Come join us on Spaced Out Radio with me, Dave Scott, right here on Revolution Radio. Monday through Friday for 3 hours a night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we will take you down the supernatural path. From ET contact to the paranormal and all of the spiritual, cryptid, and conspiracy stories in between. You can find us right here on Revolution Radio, at spacedoutradio.com, on Twitter at spacedoutradio, and on Facebook at Spaced Out Radio Show. Spaced Out Radio. It's a night of talk and interaction. Are you experienced?
Will you fight? No! We will run! And we will live!
Shame on you! This could be the greatest night of our lives. But you're gonna let it be the worst.
And I guarantee a week won't go by in your life you won't regret walking out, letting them get the best of you.
Well, I'm not going home.
We've got too far! And I'm gonna stay right here and fight for this lost cause. A day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not this day.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther.
I'm not saying it's gonna be easy.
You're gonna work harder than you ever worked before.
But that's fine, we'll just get tougher with it.
If a person grits his teeth and shows real determination,
failure is not an option.
That's how winning is done.
Believe me when I say
we can break this army here.
And win just one for the Gipper.
But I say to you, what every warrior has known since the beginning of time,
you've got to get mad.
I mean plumb mad dog mean.
If you would be free men, then you must fight to fulfill that promise. Let us cut out their living guts 1 inch at a time.
And they will know what we can do.
Let no man forget how menacing we are. We are lions.
You're like a big bear, man.
This is your time.
Seize the day.
never surrender. Victory or death.
That's the Chicago way.
Who's with me?
Clap! Clap! Don't let him die! Clap!
All right, let's fly!
And gentlemen in England now abed shall
know my name is the Lord. But I
tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our independence.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. One world coming together to bring freedom home. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
You need some more speed records in this day and age. You need coverage.
Coverage? Oh, you mean them little root weevils that crawl around popping off cameras in your face?
Those root weevils write history.
Many of you know that quote by Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. Well, you can, and Event Horizons will give you those truths. So when you're mad as hell and not going to take it anymore from that memorable scene in Network, you'll know just what to do. We will draw you in and become your news addiction at Event Horizons. Join us Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time at freedomslips.com. Revolution Radio. Our world team members are Dennis Fetcho, John Ilias, David Dunger, Halakas MD, Melanie Bridgeton, Jim Mars, Paula Harris, John Trallo, Maria Payan, Christopher Husser, DODDS, Jonathan Orchard, and me, your anchor, Dr. Robin Falco.
If you decide not to volunteer, it will not be held against you in any way.
Sounds dangerous.
It is.
Very dangerous. Count me in.
And that's right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps.
Enter into a world unseen on Raven Star's Witching Hour. You will encounter eclectic topics from the realm of spirit brought into our matrix of truth. With your host, the Solaris Blue Raven. Solaris will bring you an array of unique guests covering topics from ghostly spirits to amazing anomalies, covert technology, UFOs, and shadowy global events.
And that's right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Saturdays, midnight till 2 a.m. Eastern Time. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Let the magic rise.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
This is Reverend John M. Polk on Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio, and I'm actually the fill-in host for Dr. Sasha Lessin and Janet Lessin, who are in San Francisco, California as we speak, wrapping up the UFO conference. And I've seen some pictures through social media. It looks like everybody's having a really good time, and I'm going to live vicariously through my friends that are there now. But right now, we are actively talking with Dr. Dream and his Tour of Love tour across America, touroflove.com. And when we were during the break, we were talking about his time in Sedona, Arizona. And I was telling Dr. Dream that my mother got married there at the Los Abrigados Resort. And it was an incredibly beautiful resort right in the middle of all the Red Rock Mountains. She got married at the resort in the middle of an oasis, which was absolutely beautiful. And the energy and the upwelling of earth energy and earth spirit in Sedona is absolutely incredible. We went out to Cathedral Rock and went hiking. The Bradshaw Ranch is out there where there's countless UFO sightings. They even have a UFO tour out there where if you don't see a UFO, you get your money back. But going back to 2004, or around that time, Dr. Dream was born, and he was born there in Sedona, Arizona. So let's start right there, Dr. Dream.
Yeah, I mean, prior to that, I was, I went by Mark Peebler, And I had a web development company that was based in Sedona, and we had satellite offices in Victoria, BC, and Mexico City, and New York City, and it was an interesting time. And I was loving Sedona. My daughter was born in the house that we lived in Oak Creek Canyon, up near Slide Rock, on the way to Flagstaff, and I had a great time. But around that time, 2003, I woke up one day, literally and figuratively. I had a very successful web development company. I had sole custody of my daughter. I lived in a beautiful home up in the canyon, like incredible home. And I said to myself, is this it? You know, this is what they told me. And at this point, it would just be piling on more money. Is this really why I exist? Is this really why I chose to embody as me? Because if so, then I'm going to develop some major drug habit or alcohol habit or something just to try and find some comfort level with it, because it's showing up pretty empty. And I went through a process. There's a program in Sedona called the Sedona Intensive. Really powerful program. You can look it up online. And I went through that program, and I came out of it realizing that I could do anything. And that year I went to Burning Man, and I knew I'd been to Burning Man already, and I knew that if you set your intention before you go, Burning Man's a pretty powerful, magical place, and the energies would make sure that your intention was answered. And my intention was, how do I live within my mission and purpose? How do I do that? And that year at Burning Man, I received all this information, epiphanies, realizations, downloads. I mean, you know, whatever you want to call it. But I came back and I started a program called Dream the Biggest Dream. And I went out on the speaker circuit, and in my second event, people started calling me Dr. Dream. I was so animated and so energized, and like this kid in the reality creating candy store of life. And it stuck. And I was like, you know, Mark Peebler's a fine name. It served me well. I mean, I was 40 at that time. But Dr. Dream, you know, it's like I can get away from all the Mark Peebler stuff. And when I go out there and I'm Dr. Dream, it's I'm a direct connect to source. And then, you know, when I'm not doing that, I can be working on my stuff as Mark Peebler. And so I've kind of used it as sort of a Jedi mind trick, and it's really served me well. But all of that happened in Sedona. And so I've got, you know, really special friends still there. You know, one of my dear friends, if anyone goes to Sedona, you've got to look this person up. Peter Sterling, world-renowned harpist. His album on the ZMR up for Album of the Year. And he does tours in Sedona, and he'll take you out with his wind harp and lay you down on a rock on a view that just has you, you know, taking your breath away. And then as the wind passes through the strings of the wind harp, it plays on you. I mean, you know, like these incredible experiences. His name's Peter Sterling. And you can look him up online and find him there. But Sedona's full of wonderful people, and it's one of those incredible places on the planet. But you know what? Here's the thing. Now, we're in a new city every 1 to 3 days, and it's all exciting and it's all incredible. In some cities, we can appreciate maybe more than others. But the bottom line is we find something to appreciate everywhere we're at, because we know we're not going to be there very long. And so we have wonderful reflections of so many great energies. And, you know, I'm here to be a beacon of love. I'm here to be a beacon of love to the collective. That's what I'm about. And it's showing up right now through these bowls and this, that, and the other. But whatever you hold on to that you are and that your life is about gets reflected back to you. And so wherever we go, I mean, Sedona is a beautiful place, but there isn't a place in the world that I would like to settle down right now. I'm having such a wonderful time. My partner Stephanie and I are traveling city to city and just enjoying everything and meeting the most wonderful people that are showing up for expansion and showing up to feel the love and to hear about the new paradigms and to hear from someone who's just like everyone else. I'm just like everyone else. I've never met anyone that's less special than I am. We're all incredibly special. And if I can find this joy and this bliss in living life and this wild abundance and the trust paradigm that I live in and the heart and love paradigm that I embrace, anybody can. Absolutely anybody can. And that's why I offer the no-charge counseling that is always, you can't even pay me to get counseling. The only thing I offer is no-charge counseling. And I offer all this because it's like, wow, if I can find this, if I can find all this joy when people are looking out into the world and seeing nothing but whatever they're seeing that's less than comfortable and our president and, I mean, I could go on and take people into whatever their fear stuff is, but all that going on and I'm loving life and having an incredible time and I'm on my path and mission and I'm doing what I came here to do. Like I'm steeped in the why of my existence in everything that I do. And, I couldn't imagine a more wonderful place or a better time to be doing this. And, here we are at this sort of pinnacle energetic for the collective of humanity. It's never happened before. And we have this incredible opportunity. And why waste it looking on the downside or focusing on the things that could go wrong? If you don't know what's going to happen, let's energize that it's going to happen in the way that serves us all and creates expansion and thrusts us into the ascension process.
One of my questions, and you just answered a couple of them, but, what's it like being on the road? And it seems pretty obvious that if you were locked into one location, that you'd probably go stir crazy, that you would feel like you don't have freedom, that you're really missing the bus that's going to take you to your ultimate mission to share the love and help people, So I guess you are now required, your soul path is required to travel to all 50 states, or at least the contiguous 48, to be able to spread this message and to meet, I'm sure you absolutely love to meet new people. And like you said, each time you go to one of these locations and you do your workshop, it's completely different, although it's very similar, but it is different because you have all these new people. You have this whole new collection of souls. And so I'm sure you're just enjoying this ride so much, this tour across America.
It is. It's they say it's not about the destination, that it's about the journey. We hear this passed down in so many different traditions, and that's where I'm at. It's the journey, and it's all these experiences. So 6 nights ago, we were on Marco Island in Florida at St. Mark's Episcopal Church, and we had 74 people there for a 111-bowl galactivation experience. And Marco Island is traditionally known as a conservative retirement area. People that had never experienced things like this before, and the last time we were there was October, and they got a set of bowls. An Episcopal church got a set of bowls, and they play them every week. And so it's like, and they had us back, and we're going to go back there. I think we're going to do 222 bowls there in October. And so here's the thing. Everywhere we go, every venue that we do our experience at, they want us back. I'm spending over 2 months in Florida in 2017. I mean, there's 50 states, 48 that are easy to get to. And I'm spending 2 months, we're spending 2 months in Florida because it's so beautiful. And I mean, here's the thing. I don't have to go to the Northeast in the winter. Okay. I can spend March in Florida and do what I'm to do. It's like I go where the weather suits my clothes kind of thing. But, we get to pick and choose where we want to go and how we want to do it. But it is as exciting as anything I could imagine. I mean, it's like the new frontier, just because everything's always different. And the synchronicities become so much more pronounced when you're that open and you're not taking anything for granted, because every city's a new city. Every experience is kind of a new experience. And so you're absolutely paying attention. And I'm a firm believer that everything in our experience is synchronistic because it's coming from us. But we're not always present enough to notice that. And I find that being on the road, I'm a lot more in the moment. I'm here now, and I'm focused. And, I've always been a good person, but so much energy went to kind of rationalizing why it was good to have a web development company, I knew that wasn't what I was here for. But we gather our experience and everything else. I mean, I worked for Marriott for years, training Marriott salespeople, was in the hotel industry, all this. And it's all prepared me to be what I like to call a front man for Source. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not, if I'm pitching anything, it's like, open your heart, find your empowerment, try something that you can suspend your disbelief about and watch it happen, and remember how incredible you are. And then address your reality from that perspective, from that energetic, and see what happens. And that's it. I don't want people, using me as a crutch or this or that. They can get unlimited counseling with me if they do the assignment at the end of each phone call. And I know there's people that would rather just pay me $100 an hour for a phone call, and I won't do it. It's like, no, you fit into this and you have to do the assignment. That's all I'm asking, is show me your commitment and dedication to yourself, and I'll reflect that back to you. The same way reality is reflecting back to us what is most important to us, where we put our attention and our intention and what we decide by our actions and our thought processes, what we believe in and what is true for us.
What I'm looking forward to is being able to meet you at Contact in the Desert. I believe it's May 19th through the 22nd. There's going to be some incredible speakers there, including yourself. So George Norrie, Coast to Coast AM, Graham Hancock, Eric Von Daniken, Giorgio Tsoukalos, Dr. Stephen Greer, Dr. Robert or Bob Schock, Linda Moulton Howe, Robert Bivall, Corey Good, David Wilcock, and yourself. I mean, it is going to be an absolutely incredible conference. I'm going to be able to meet some of the most fascinating people that I have idealized for many, many years. And so I would have to assume that you're going to be, you're going to have the bowls. And you said that, I think you said last year they had roughly 2,500, but they're expecting over 3,000 people for this year. Tell us about Contact in the Desert and, some of the plans that you have for it.
Well, I've been speaking at Contact in the Desert since the very first one. And so it is such an amazing opportunity and gathering. I mean, I think USA Today called it the Woodstock of UFO conferences, and it really is like everybody's there, all the big names and everything. And here I am, Dr. Dream, with 333 bowls. And last year we set them up surrounding the amphitheater, and I had 59 angels. These are volunteers assisting me. And we did an hour experience out there, and it was so powerful and so wonderful. And we had essential oil misters traveling, going through the audience, and just the opportunity to hear 333 bowls outside in Joshua Tree. I mean, a place that's known for its extraterrestrial contact and UFO sightings, and just is one of the most beautiful places ever. And so we were completely thrilled to have done that last year. And before the next week was even out, they had invited us back to come back this year. They expect that there'll be 3,000. I don't know how many tickets they're planning on, but they expect 3,000 people out there in the amphitheater. We're going to do 333 bowls again, along with everything that we've learned and expanded into in the last year. And you listed the people that are out there, and just the the level of interaction and excitement. I mean, again, this is 2017. It's time for us to be getting together and talking about extraterrestrials and what's going on. And then my role is beautiful. Everyone gets real into their heads out there and everything like that. And then I'm given this amazing opportunity to completely open my heart and to facilitate an experience with these 333 Tibetan healing bowls, to allow people to assimilate everything and to more freely and openly move into their hearts as they're having, a big experience and so much information and so much interaction out there. And so it's a great thing. And I think there's still discount tickets available. It's contactinthedesert.com, and check it out. It's the perfect time of year to be out there. The skies are beautiful. You've got Giant Rock and the Integratron out there. You've got Desert Hot Springs out there. And it really is just, it's like the perfect setup for some amazing experiences.
Yeah, I can't wait. I just recently went to UFO Congress in Fountain Hills, Arizona, outside of Phoenix, and that was a magical experience itself. And I sat right next to Janet and Dr. Sasha Lessin, the host of the show. They would be doing the show tonight, of course, but they're at UFO Con in San Francisco. I've been working with them for 2.5 years doing shows, and I never met them until about a month ago. And I know why I'm so drawn to them. We're all Anunnaki researchers, and we've based a significant portion of our life around it. And they're both going to be at Contact in the Desert, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And I get to meet you as well, Dr. Dream. So it's going to be good. And I live in Florida, but the energy on the West Coast, it's so much more spiritual, if you will. We do have a spiritual element here in Florida, but you have traveled all around the country and all around the world. Can you tell the difference in the spiritual energy from the Southeast then to the western coast of the United States?
I mean, there's definitely a difference, but my thought when I really left the West Coast and said I'm going all over the country was, my initial thought was, I'm tired of singing to the choir. Okay, I'm tired of putting myself out there to people that are already there, and I want to see what's really going on out there. And we went to Nebraska and Iowa and Detroit and Oklahoma City and Indianapolis, and the bottom line is that we're always kind of singing to the choir, at some level, because like energy attracts like energy. And I don't get people that come to my experiences that aren't ready for it. Okay, so everyone that walks in there is ready. They maybe think they're showing up for a concert or a performance, and they end up, showing up for a guided thing that takes them right smack dab in the middle of their inner journey. But I believe that their higher self knows exactly what they were getting into. And so I don't hold back in the experiences. And what I find is that everywhere I go, people are ready. They're ready to open up. They're ready to embrace new paradigms. They're ready to look at life differently. And they are open to expansion. And Florida, I mean, as an example, I'm going to spend more time in Florida this year, probably, than California. Okay, and it's just, it happens to be a perfect spot for us. We get so much support. We have a support network in Florida that knows about Dr. Dream and the Tour of Love, and they've been supporting me for years now, and it's a natural for me to be here. We spend a good amount of time in Colorado. I want to spend more time on the East Coast. And while we can draw a couple hundred people, 150 people, 120 people to an event on the West Coast, Our first time in Oklahoma City, I had 24 angels in the band of angels. That means 24 volunteers helping me pull off the experience of 333 bowls. And we had 42 people in the audience. So it was one facilitator for every two people, actually more than one facilitator for every two people. I mean, so that, and then now people know about it. The next time we go to Oklahoma City and St. Louis, there'll be more. In Detroit, we were part of a conference and there were 166 people, and it was the most well-attended part of the conference. It was like the opening ceremony, and people were blown away. And that was our first 333 bowl experience. And so, yes, we do feel different energies when we're in places, but once we gather together, it's like old home week. I feel like we've done this cosmic dance before, however many lifetimes ago. And, we all settle in for a powerful experience. And that's kind of standard wherever we go.
I think it's important to mention to all the listeners, how can we support the tour of love?
John, and this is the best question ever, because it takes a village, and I'm not here to do this alone. And so we go all over the place. If you want us to come to your community, go to touroflove.com. My email address is there, and shoot me an email and let me know, where you're at, and do you have connections with the Unity Church or the Center for Spiritual Living or your own spiritual center or your yoga center. Like right now, we're looking for more places in Virginia and in North Carolina and New Jersey and Connecticut and Massachusetts and New York. And we're looking for people to step up and introduce us to their yoga center, or step up and say, hey, listen, I've got a big, living room, and we can fit 12 people in there easily. And let's have you come over, and we're going to supercharge my community, our own community, and our own family, and have everyone over. We love doing experiences like that. And nothing is above us and nothing is below us. We're working with a famous, well-known DJ to do a stadium show we thought it was going to be this May, but wires got crossed. It didn't happen, but I know it'll happen in the next year. We'll be in front of 14,000 people. And so before things blast open for us and we're not doing, we're unable to do venues under, 200, 300, 400 people. I love going to people's homes. The other night, we did Marco Island. We had 74 people. The next night, we did a small healing center. We had 8 people. I mean, this is just what I'm here to do. And so we go from place to place, and we release any expectation, and we know that we're just doing what we're here to do, and that's all that matters, and that's what makes everything work.
That's excellent. So let me ask you, and I don't know if you'd want to do this or not, but let's say that you're in my home right now, and I've got about seven friends that I open up to about the spirit world. I am a medium, communicating with the other side. I actually help angels cross over that are earthbounders trapped in between dimensions in limbo. I've got about 7 friends that would be totally open-minded to your healing modality and would just love to be, and actually a couple of them are listening to the show right now. But if you were to do a mock guided meditation without the bowls, how would you go about doing that? What would you say?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and this is where the whole experience gets interesting. Whatever you think the experience is about, chances are it's not about that. And so I don't really do a guided meditation as much as I guide people into the inner journey. And it's through a combination of storytelling, a combination of facts and kind of cerebral information about each of the chakras. And it's this sort of, it is literally a ride that takes people from their thinking brain into their feeling body, into their etheric body, back into their thinking brain. It's, again, I don't take credit for having strategized all of this. It's just the way we've worked into the experience. And it's powerful. And so in people's homes, it's their closest friends. It's the people that are their real circle. And to have an experience like this with our closest circle is incredibly powerful, because it raises the frequency of everyone there and puts us all in a place of being really empowered. And so how about bringing that to our families? How about bringing that to our 10 closest friends, and having a unique experience with the multi-sensory, the smells and the tastes and the sound and vibrations. The smaller experiences, we lay people out and actually put bowls on people. So you can, because these are healing bowls, and they're like begging to be placed on the body, and they just resonate through tissue, bones, everything. And so the experiences, we don't have people laying out. We have them sitting in chairs. We did a yoga studio in Key Largo, sold it out. We rented 33 chairs so everybody could sit in chairs, because it's not that kind of experience where it's like close your eyes and go away. Surf the ethers. It's like, okay, when we come around with the bowls, close your eyes, and have your experience with the sound and vibration. But then we're on to the next chakra. Open your eyes. Let's get into our brains a little bit. And so it is this process that has so much going on that if people let go of their expectations and just allow it to unfold to what it really is, it's a really powerful experience. And it seems to just go by in a snap.
It sounds like it. It sounds like everybody easily falls into the willing suspension of disbelief, and then the sound healing seems to take over at some point. But there was a term I came across through researching, and the balanced biofield. Can you explain to us what that means and how you go about doing it?
Yeah, there was a study done. The biofield is our energetic field. And so this is the field that is around everything. There's an energetic field around everything. So all of us have a biofield. And what affects the biofield is Wi-Fi, EMFs, our cell phones, stress, affects the biofield, lack of sleep, which actually creates stress. So everything's kind of interconnected. But anything that isn't giving us energy is diminishing our biofield. And so there are studies that have been done about how to keep your biofield strong. And it's like your auric field, it's your energetic field. And so we use all sorts of different tools for this. I'm a multiple modality holistic healing practitioner. And so to keep my biofield strong, I'm trained in Reiki, I'm trained in oneness blessing, theta healing, I'm self-trained in all these other modalities and things. So the bowls raise our frequency, the essential oils raise our frequency. So they're supporting our biofield. So they are allowing us to stay strong. I use products from a company called Q-Link. And they're great products. And I did a study with them years ago where we had one of their cell chips. They have cell chips to put on your cell phone. And there was a third-party company there, and they hooked me up to this device. And they checked to see what my energy or frequency, I guess, was just without a cell phone or anything else. And then I used a cell phone with no protection, and we saw what that did to the energy. And then we put one of the Q-Link cell chips on it, and we saw what that did. And what it did was, without the cell chip, my frequency was completely disrupted from where my baseline was with no cell phone. Then I use a cell phone. My energy is completely disrupted. That same cell phone, we put a cell chip on, and my energy, while I'm doing a call, my energy is able to be back at what it was as baseline. And so the biofield, has a lot. A constricted biofield, that allows us to get sick. That just allows us to not be at the peak level of what we can do. And for me, it's like, I know what I'm here for. I choose to be at the peak level of energy transference for everything that I do here. And to do that, I need a solid, expanded biofield and the ability to hold my frequency. I used to say that Source must have heard me say I love roller coasters and took it figuratively, because I could raise my frequency, and then, I wouldn't be able to hold it, and I'd dip back down, and then I'd raise it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I said something about roller coasters, and Source took it, like figuratively about my emotional body. And I'm like, I don't really like roller coasters that way. And so it's been this process of learning how to hold my frequency, how to live in this world, and have the media putting things before us on a silver platter to constrict our biofields, to constrict our energies, so there's control over us, and still be happy. For me to have all that going on, whatever they're spraying in the skies, everything else, and to love being here. I said the other night in a talk that I used to look up at the chemtrails, and it was a big F-U to the powers that be, or want to be. And then I expanded my energy, and I looked up at the chemtrails, and it was a big shame on you to the powers that want to be. And now I look up at the chemtrails, and I say, sorry guys, I'm too high vibe. And I own that. And yet I hear people, I was somewhere the other night, and this woman said, oh, they're spraying the skies again. I can't leave my house. This is horrible. It's making me sick. And it was just like, oh my gosh, you own something like that, and you repeat it over and over again. You do make it your reality. God, source, the universe, is the best order taker ever. And all that energy is doing for us, amongst a lot of other energies, is reflecting back to us whatever we're holding on to. And so when you think about that, you begin to adjust the way you look at the world and the way you say things and what your beliefs are. And that's kind of what we do in these powerful galactivation sessions with all these bowls and everything, is go through this process where we get people to see maybe how they're holding themselves back and what's available if they chose not to do that anymore.
I find is interesting is, of course, you use the bowls, but you're into so many different modalities like Rife frequencies, Reiki. I'm a Reiki master instructor myself, theta healing, and you touched on this before. But what really interests me out of all these other healing modalities is Rife frequencies. Now, I'm going to leave this individual nameless, but there's a very famous individual who had cancer and had his cancer cured through what you call Rife box, through the manipulation of Rife frequencies. Somehow waves can enter our body that are tuned to a certain frequency and can basically just shrink, if not destroy, cancerous tumors in our body. And this individual has huge fundraisers for cancer after he had his cancer cured through Rife frequencies. And it really upsets me when I see commercials about it and all these fundraisers for it. And I'm sure that you've had similar emotions regarding these kind of things as well.
Well, there's all sorts of things out there that work, and Rife frequencies have proven to be very powerful and capable of many things, not just with cancer, but across the board. It goes back to the 1930s when Royal Rife created the first Rife device, and now there are no Rife devices that like he really built. They were all destroyed and his plans destroyed. But there are devices that can put Rife frequencies out there, and for cancer, for anything really, even Lyme disease, for all of this, Rife frequencies, and it's RIFE, are really good to look into and to see who's out there. There's a person in Sedona, Arizona, who I think is the expert on rife frequencies, and she was my mentor when I lived there, and the stories are over the top. But I mean, we could pick all sorts of different modalities, and the stories are over the top. People are really expanding their belief systems, and as we expand our belief systems, what's possible expands also. And so it's out there, it works, and people are getting to have those experiences. There's no reason for us to have to give in to any diseases or anything that allopathic medicine says is not curable or anything like that. Everything shows up on the physical body as a messenger. Chances are it's been in your emotional body for quite a while, but we never paid attention to it. Then it shows up on the physical body, and it's waving a red flag saying, hey, listen, you didn't pay attention to me when I was in your emotional body. I'm going to get your attention now. Cancer tumor or AIDS or the flu. I mean, whatever it is. And once we get the message, it can go away. And the simplistic view of that is you sign for a package from FedEx or UPS. He doesn't saddle up to you and say, hey, what are we doing today? You got the message. I get that that's a little bit easy. But that's the way I look at it. Once you get the message, this is why people who go through the exact same treatments for cancer, one may transition and one may not. And it's because the variable is how much are they digging in and how much are they connecting the dots with why they got it. And if you address it strictly as a physical disease or, a physical issue, then you're turning your back on the whole emotional aspect of it, and everything's connected in our emotional body. So we can't approach anything on just one level. We're multidimensional beings, and we get to approach things on all the different levels. So physical, spiritual, emotional, all the etheric levels, and then kind of see where we're guided. I've got stories of people that have experienced amazing healing, but it's them, I mean, I can guide someone. I can do phone things where I guide people, and I know that they can clear whatever it is. We've got tremendous success with uterine fibroids in the tumors in the uterus. And at this point, I believe if someone's really ready for it, 2 or 3 phone calls, we can have them away. And that's pretty big to say, but it's like, what's your belief system? We live in a time now that we're only limited by what we believe. So the favorite things I work on with people are the ones who are not limiting themselves, who really believe that something can be done. I had a person come to me and this was years ago. She said, I said, what can I help you with? She said, I've got 5 fibroids, 5 tumors in my uterus, one of them the size of my fist. And I said, what would you like to do? And she said, I'd like you to help me make them smaller. And I said, okay, well, I'll take you as a client because you believe that this can happen, and I know it can. So together we can do this. I said, do you mind if we go a step further? And if we're making them smaller, I think it's only one more step and we can make them disappear. And she said, well, absolutely. And we went through a process. I said, why do you want us to make them smaller? And she said, because I have surgery in 3 weeks and I want it to be less invasive. I worked on her for 2 weeks. And at the end, we muscle tested. The fibroids tested as being gone. She canceled her surgery. That was 8 years ago. And they've never come back. That's the story right there. Her doctors were freaked out that she canceled the surgery. But here it is. I mean, a woman would understand this. 5 tumors in your uterus, even when it's not your monthly cycle, you're in incredible discomfort. Those fibroids went away. This woman canceled her surgery. No more fibroid, 1 tumor the size of her fist. These are real stories. Everyone's miracle is just waiting for them to believe it so it can happen. Miracles happen now, and they happen all the time. We're miracle makers when we believe it.
Dr. Dream, we have maybe 8 minutes left, so let's make sure that we get this in before the end of the show. So please, tell us about your multiple websites, your tour across America, your book 21 Days to Change, Dream the Biggest Dream, any YouTube videos, all your assets. If you want to talk about that to wrap up the show, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll throw some stuff out there. I'm kind of the king of giving stuff away. So we have a 21-day program on our site called 21 Days to Change, the Conscious Creation Program. And it's a 105-page document. We call it a playbook because who wants to do a workbook? And it's fill in the blank. It's easy, but it takes a commitment of about an hour a day. I'll give that away to anyone who wants it. And all they need to do is send me an email. And you can find it on the sites, or the email is IAM, spelled IAM, the @ symbol, drdream.com. I am at drdream.com. And if you send me an email and tell me you heard me on this show, I'll send you the link to download the program. And then I'll take it a step further. If you actually print it out, 105 pages, and get back to me, I'll give you 4 free phone calls. Okay? And the first phone call is before you even start on the book. And it's tips and tricks on how to get through it with the greatest success. And then it's a 3-week program. I'll give 3 phone calls during that 3 weeks to support each person going through the program. And I don't charge anything for this. And so if you like what I've had to say, you're willing to take a look at it, your belief system can accommodate going through a process that can show you how powerful you really are, the 21-day program is for you. You can find out more about it at drdream.com. The website for the tour is www.touroflove.com. And if you want to be an angel at one of our events, you can sign up there. There's a link that says angel sign up. There's a link that says location sign up if you want to host us. Right now, we're looking for angels in New Jersey, Morristown, New Jersey, for April 8th, Saturday, April 8th at Atlantic Health. We're doing an event at a hospital. Okay, so you're talking about the expansion of energies and the expansion of belief systems. I don't think 5 years ago you'd see 111 bowls being done at a hospital in New Jersey. But that's what we get to do on April 8th, and we're looking for 9 volunteers to assist us with the bowls and the oils and the chocolate that day. Those are really the 2 main sites, and that's the offer. You can Google Dr. Dream and look for things on YouTube and everything like that. But really, the reason we haven't put out anything like that is this experience needs to be experienced in person. And that's why we go all over the place. And we're looking for invitations. We're looking for people that will really support us to come to their community and hook us up with the big church or the big venue and really have an impact. And we're doing a big thing in Cedar Rapids, Iowa this summer. We're going to be throughout Colorado. We'll be coming back to New York a second time before the end of the year, and then we'll be doing Florida again. And we'll be back in California doing some more 333 bowls there. And, of course, Contact in the Desert. And you can find all this on touroflove.com. But Contact in the Desert, get your tickets before, I think, the 30th of the month, because the prices will go up. And meet us out there for an incredible experience that puts you right smack dab in the middle of the greatest thinkers on the multi-dimensions and everything that's going on outside of the seen world, and kick back under the stars and feel 333 bowls with several thousand of your new friends. I mean, this is the fun that we get to have, and all I'm looking to do is share the experience and share the information and share the reminders and share the love and we're going to come out the other side, whatever that means in this human experience for the collective, and that's the wave I'm riding on.
And I understand that our listeners can get your newsletter and actually subscribe to your email list as well.
Yes, absolutely. On any of the websites, there's a little box to subscribe to our newsletter. And on a good week, we send out one, and a challenging week, we don't. So we send out 2 or 3 a month. And it's information on what we're doing and stories from the road, and just a way to be involved and kind of see how this tour of love is progressing, and maybe find your role in it. We really feel that by the end of the year, we'll be occupying 3 tour buses, and there'll be 24 of us consistently, full-time, doing the tour of love, city to city. So if that resonates with you, start thinking about it and help energize this dream so we can all be living that.
Also, you have a photo gallery on the website?
I have a photo gallery on the rosefrequency.com site, www.therosefrequency.com. It's 200 photos of roses that I took over a couple-year period outside of Ventura, California. And it'll raise your frequency. And we've got, the Twitter account and Instagram with all the fun pictures where you can imagine. I mean, we took a group snorkeling off Key Largo in March. We did a pontoon boat and water ceremony just a few days ago off of Naples. We took people kayaking with bowls down the Colorado River. So we're constantly looking for, we've got bowls. Bring us along. Let's have an experience with the bowls. I'd love to do some biking with the bowls. I'd love to do some climbing with the bowls. I'd love to do some gliding and some ballooning, and also if there's a way that while I'm screaming in bliss and delight while parachuting, I'd like to be playing bowls.
That's great. Hey, so once again, folks, my name is Reverend John M. Polk, and I'm actually filling in for Dr. Sasha and Janet Lessin on Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio. They will be back next Sunday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. But before we go, I did have one question that I missed, and it had to do with the bowls. So I would have to assume that the size, the shape, the volume that the bowl can hold, the actual galvanized metal, all that has to play into the note that it actually plays. Can you briefly describe that before we go?
Yeah, I mean, these are the variables. And so bowls are different thickness. They're different width across. They may have a higher rim or a lower rim. So there are wonderfully beautiful variations in all of this, and that's part of what makes the bowls so unique and so much fun, is that they're hitting us on all those different levels. All those variations play into it, and so it's never just sort of like the perfect note. It's this growing, expanding, feeling its way into being the note, which I think is representative or symbolic of all of us. We're all growing, expanding, and feeling our way into the note, so to speak, that we are in this life, and who we are, and what we represent, and what frequency we hold. And I know some days I hold a very high frequency, and then other days, who knows what's got me triggered, or lack of sleep, or lack of the right foods, or something like that. And it can be a stretch for me, and I kind of feel that it's that way with these bowls also, that they're more like us than the sort of angelic, perfected crystal bowls or something like that, that these are hand hammered, that the edges are rough, that because of all that they play different and they feel different. And the whole thing is, come out, have the experience, check us out in these cities. I can't tell you the number of cities we've gone to, because people have stepped up and said, hey, we want you to come here. And it's like, well, I wouldn't have, like Cedar Rapids, I wouldn't have really thought about going to Cedar Rapids. Nothing wrong with Cedar Rapids. But all of a sudden you get an invitation, and we're featured at this big yoga festival. everything. It's like, yeah, Cedar Rapids is going to be great. Plus our chocolate supplier, Lori Moritz with Mystic Chocolate, is in Cedar Rapids. So we're like, yeah, that's perfect. But all it takes is a good invitation. We're going everywhere that we can make our way to. So everybody gets to be part of this if they want to. And it's like, come aboard. We're all just wanting to make the world a better place and to raise the frequency and put our energy into it, and to, bottom line, just share the love. That's it for me. And I know for some people it's like, oh boy, all that stuff. But you know what? It's a great way to live. It keeps coming back to you in the most beautiful ways. And I'm tired. I'm tired of living a life that has to do with constricting and being at the control of powers outside of myself. I'm just like, I'm through with that, and I've taken my power back from all of it. And I've decided the life I want to live is blissful, it's abundant, it's full of love, and it's full of trust. And to me, that's the ascension process. And I'm just freaking owning it now before it takes over, the whole place, and we all get to experience it. And I think a bunch of us need to be doing that. That's my suggestion. So, John, I sure appreciate your time and energy in this interview, and it's been nice getting to know you, and I look forward to meeting you in person at Contact in the Desert. But then in October, maybe you'll sponsor an event for us in Orlando. We've never done anything in Orlando yet.
Hey, there's always a first time for everything. So thank you, Dr. Dream. Once again, Sacred Matrix here on Revolution Radio. Have a great night, folks.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
You need some more speed records in this day and age. You need coverage.
Coverage? Oh, you mean them little root weevils that crawl around popping off cameras in your face?
Those root weevils write history.
Many of you know that quote by Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. Well, you can, and Event Horizons will give you those truths. So when you're mad as hell and not going to take it anymore from that memorable Senior Network, you'll know just what to do. We will draw you in and become your news addiction at Event Horizons. Join us Monday through Friday.